Okay, this is just another very quick video showing progress on the lime shaper, .8 scale. So Walter, here we go. I got the handle done. There's probably some detail work that needs to be done still, but pretty much finished. I got a little play here, so I'm not sure how much I should have. It's more than adequate, so right now, so I can always take these bolts out and turn the shoulders down. So that's that. The handle is not exactly like the original, but it's pretty close, and the scale is correct. So as far as according to some drawings that I found, the scale is correct. This portion, this handle portion down here, the turn portion, is separate and it's welded to the bar. So that's how that works. All the emboss areas I did with CNC. Those are just little quick routines. I think each one of these embosses took 2 or 3 minutes at a very slow speed on the take, and this one maybe was about 6 minutes. And I think these radiuses took more cuts. They were about 12 minutes to get those. So I did those, and then the rest of this I just did on the mill. So back and forth on the y-axis to get the bar down to size. So originally I was going to use a much larger bar. I considered using a piece of 1/2 by 3/8, but it really wasn't to scale. So in the end I purchased a piece of 1/2 by 1 inch, which was also, you know, way too big. So I thought, well, I'll use the 1/2 by 1 inch. It was a little bit of work, but I just mill it down to size. So I milled the width down and the thickness down. So I feel better about it. It looks to scale, and so I'm happy about that. So after I got the handle finished, I decided to start working on this ram. So it has this little internal part, the pawl. I'm going to call it the pawl. I don't know what you call it. That drives the star wheel. So this is a little tricky. I just came out this morning and worked on it for a few minutes, and it's not what I like. I drilled these 4 holes here, and I made the little pawl according to some dimensions that I had, scaled down to 0.8. But that said, the height where these 3 holes are located in comparison to this upper hole, which is the pivot, that distance is critical. Also, the distance between the 2 outer holes is critical. So I realize that now. I've got the holes drilled, so I'm stuck. But had I figured this all out, I probably would have put the holes a little closer together. Also, that all has to jive with the width of this pawl. So I'm not sure how much engagement I have now. I'll figure that out over time. But so I will definitely probably remake the pawl. So it's not that big a deal. It's pretty simple to make. So I'm gonna show you this thing actually works. I made a little temporary pin to put in here. So that's that. And I've got 3 holes in the bar, 3 holes in the ram. So I've got, I guess, 9 options for this, right? So I don't know. Let me zoom in a little bit. Now that you've seen the overall picture, let's see if I can zoom in from this side. Okay, maybe you can see it there. So the little pawl, you can, I don't know too, you can see, yeah, you can see this handle. So every time I take a stroke, this handle should turn, right? So very smooth, very quiet. I've got the jibs a little bit loose right now, so, but everything's in that, going in that direction works very smooth. I suppose if you're going back and forth pretty quick, you're putting a little force on that star wheel and this pawl right here. So I've got some cherry red around here someplace. So I guess I'll take those two items and harden those. But you can see it. Hopefully, oh, my hand's in the way. Let me get on the other side. Dum me. I'm trying to show you something. I'm standing right in the way. This camera's got me bamboozled here. So there you go, and you can see I don't know if you can see, but the carriage is moving very little. I think I've got the star wheel's only got 10 teeth. I was worried about that, but that looks like that's going to work out okay. I'm sure 12 teeth would be better, but I got 10 and 10, so you know, so that's 100 thousandths, so 10 thousandths per stroke, right? I guess, I don't know, I figured that out once. So anyway, it's working. I just want you to know. And if I guess if I move this to this side, then it'll move in the opposite direction, right? There it goes. Now the handle's moving in the opposite direction, and the carriage is moving in the opposite direction. Okay. Now what I haven't solved, and I don't know what I'm going to do about it, but I think, okay, let me hold up on that. I think that I'm going to get back over here, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Probably that's enough. I think the center hole here, if I can, you know, move the pawl back in one position, but I can't get a full-size piece of rod in here. So I noticed on the original, I think this hole is smaller, but still it doesn't quite get it. But if I just stick a little piece of wire in there so it holds the pawl, then I can freely crank the carriage. Okay, not in the way. Right? Am I right? I guess maybe that doesn't make any difference, actually. Maybe I can freely crank the carriage anyway, right? Doesn't make any difference. I'm not sure what that center hole is all about there. But anyway, that I haven't really figured all this out yet. But I decided to try to get started on this part. I knew that I could have trouble. Maybe I was going to have to make a different star wheel. But I'm pretty sure, you know, I've got quite a bit of engagement, and I think I can get more engagement. Okay, let me go one step further here. See what I've got. Let me zoom out a little bit more. I think I've showed you what I wanted to show you. So let's take that pin out of there. I gotta. Take this linkage apart here. So this is just this I can put this back in the lathe and change the shoulders if I have to a little bit. So if I want to get that a little tighter, I don't know. I made this nut to go on the other side. It looks kind of nice. I just copied a nice nut that I'd purchased someplace else. So that's that part. This just screws out of here. The handle is, you know, I guess you could say it's reversible. It's the same. It's the same on both sides. You know, each place has got the little embossed area. This is about 1/16 of an inch high. So there's the handle. One thing that did happen, and I think I mentioned in an email, that there's a lot of stress in this cold rolled steel. So when I milled this down, it was nice and straight when I started. Now it's looks like it's got a heck of a bow in it, but I don't know that matters in reality. So it's unfortunate. So I didn't have any way to relieve the stress, so I knew that might happen. Actually, it wasn't something that you know, I was surprised. And the little stanchion back here, that didn't. Originally when I made I have a couple of these stanchions that I made, and originally I was going to use 1/2 inch material, so I changed it to, I don't know, 400 thousandths or whatever it is. So I had to add a washer back here, but rather I can remake this little stanchion. I mean, it's no big deal, but right now I cut a washer on the lathe exactly the right size. So that's that. So let me pull the ram. I got the ram pretty loose right now, so it should just slide out of here. And let me take the pin out. This is an 1/8 inch piece of tool steel that I had laying around, so that makes a pretty good pivot. Okay, here's the little pawl I made, so if you can see that. And I copied some dimensions I had, but this thing needs to be thicker. It was thicker, and I milled it down to make it thinner, more like the dimensions I had, but actually this needs to be thicker, so it engages the pin sooner. That way I got more engagement. These teeth on the star wheel, they don't stick up a heck of a lot. Now, I don't know if you can see. I hope maybe you can't see. There's no way to show you. But this pawl, you know, is the height of it is critical from this hole down to the bottom, and so it just has to clear this area right here, so that way it gets full engagement on the star wheel. So anyway, I didn't spend a lot of time on this. I guess it's 1 o'clock, so I guess I did spend a while, but a few hours I spent doing all this, and so I'm not sure what I'll do here. If I may just leave it like it is, if I can figure out how much engagement I'm getting, because you know this thing is at an angle, right? So that changes the engagement. If it's straight down, it's engaging all the way. So that bar, the size of this bar makes a big difference. So anyway, those are all the parts of the puzzle. That's where I'm at. So hopefully I give you some idea of what's going on. Part of this, what I'm doing this morning is just trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with all this, you know, and how everything interacts. I think I got a pretty good idea now. I'd like for this pawl to engage the star wheel as much as possible. Looks like, actually, I'm looking at it now, when you got it together you can't see, right? But, right now it looks like the engagement is, if this thing is almost straight up and down, it's almost perfect. These are 30 degrees. I milled these this point at 30 degrees on each side. That was my best guess at what it should be, and it looks like it's pretty close. So I knew that that angle was going to affect the engagement too, right? You want as much surface engagement as possible, I'm thinking. So that looks like it does pretty good. So anyway, I'm probably going to remake the pawl, and I think I made it out of a piece of 1/2 inch, and I should have just left it 1/2 inch because I milled it down to 300 thousandths, and that, you know, that's more like it should look, but based on the location of these holes and stuff, I think I needed to leave it full thickness. I used a piece of just a little short piece of 1/2 by 1/2 bar stock to make it. So, and like I say, I got some cherry red around here somewhere. There it is, right there. It's up in the cupboard. So this and the star wheels, and based on your recommendation, Walter, I know you mentioned this before. So I think we'll harden these, and I think it'll be better. Anyway, that's where it's at. Not sure it's exactly the way it's supposed to be, and I'm not so sure that the longevity of this thing is great. Maybe there's something I could do different. I don't know. I've got it so this slot is 3/8. This portion right here is 1/2 inch. So, and this portion right here, this part here, fits exactly in this slot on the ram. So that way there's no play in it at all. Except for enough play so it can go back and forth. But there is no play, so this thing stays aligned, so it doesn't wobble back and forth. I don't know how the original is, I have no idea, but this is what I've figured out so far. So if you got any suggestions, let me know. Alright, I'll call off now and put this back together again, and I'll post this video so you can see what's going on.